let's talk about free agents that we can't afford. Grossi Posse Packer Nation. Welcome to an episode of Packcast, the podcast where you're not a Packers fan, but it sure does help. I'm your host, Tom. I wish we had more cap space, but at least Kirk Cousins and Mitch Trubisky isn't our quarterback, Grossi. And today what we're going to take a look at, we already looked at wide receiver targets, we looked at quarterback targets, and today we look at linebacker targets. You know, that position that the Green Bay Packers have been at need for centuries. And so we'll take a look, ranging from the very expensive to the moderately expensive, and see if the Green Bay Packers can actually afford any of these people after re-signing Kenny Clark. So let's take a gander. First up, of course, we have the cream of the crop. Where does that phrase come from? Is it like cream of corn? Like, where do you get cream from with crops? You're not milking them. And that is 26-year-old linebacker Corey Littleton. And while his last name might be Little, he's got a big heart, and that's all that matters. Oh, and he's also a really good linebacker. He is the top inside linebacker in free agency this year, and this man about to get paid. There was an estimate that he's going to get paid over $10 million, probably closest to $12 million a year. You know, money that the Packers don't have. I just want a linebacker. So Corey Littleton is literally everything that the Green Bay Packers have been dreaming for at that position. He's excellent in coverage. He's an excellent tackler. And I mean, he's got it all. In 2018, he was a Pro Bowler. Started all 16 games, 3 interceptions, 1 touchdown, 13 passes defended, 4 sacks, and a combined of 125 tackles. In 2019, played another full season, 2 interceptions, 9 passes defended, 2 forced fumbles, 4 fumble recoveries, 3.5 sacks, and 134 combined tackles. Guy has had a nice 4-year career. Obviously, didn't play a whole lot in his first 2 years and really has just rocketed up. And the Rams, well, they can't pay anybody right now because they're busy paying everybody else and regretting all of that. And so, this guy, obviously, I want Corey Littleton on the Green Bay Packers because by the time we pick in the draft, chances are an inside linebacker, you know, is not gonna be there, one that, you know, is worth a first-round pick. So, that's why we should have gotten Devin Bush last year. Anyway, but that being said, I just don't think we're going to have the cap space to afford him. I don't really know if Ron Wolf can do that much trickery with money here. But, I mean, there's always potential if we don't re-sign Brian Bulaga. Obviously, we cut Jimmy Graham. If we cut Lane Taylor, you know, if we do all that, then maybe we can shell out enough money for him. But this guy is going to cost a lot, and I think he's just going to be out of reach for the Green Bay Packers, unfortunately. Then we got Cleveland Browns former 4th rounder Joe Schobert. Yeah, a 2017 Pro Bowler, only missed 3 games in the past 3 seasons. Pretty damn great in coverage. He was 2nd best in 2018. In 2019, fell off a little bit, went down to 15th in coverage, still better than Blake Martinez. 4 interceptions, 9 passes defended, 2 sacks, 1 fumble recovery, 2 forced fumbles, and 133 combined tackles. This guy has been a little bit hot and cold over his career, his short career. And I think that he's going to wind up costing a pretty penny in free agency, but he could be more of a bargain when it comes, you know, comparatively to Corey Littleton. You know, if you could settle for, you know, under $10 million for him, that would definitely be solid. He would definitely add some talent to the position, which would be desperately needed. But then you start talking about, okay, if we're not going out and getting a superstar, you know, do we just potentially hope and pray that we get one of these guys in the draft? But I think Schobert has a decent chance of going to the Packers. It's just going to be if the price is right here. Then we got some bargain guys. We got former Bear Nick Kwiatkowski, and I had to look up to make sure I said that name right. This guy is definitely a playmaker, but has not gotten as many playing opportunities. Only started 8 games in 2019. He played all of them, but had an interception, 4 passes defended, 1 forced fumble, and 68 overall tackles. We could probably get him for a decent deal And again, it would definitely put some consistency, and it would be an improvement over what we currently have with Blake Martinez there. But this would be a guy that you put in there, you feel pretty comfortable, but you still have to address the position in the draft. For me, the only two guys that we could possibly sign here that would make a lot of sense that we wouldn't have to go potentially in the draft, at least early rounder, would be Corey Littleton or Joe Schobert, but more Corey Littleton, because he would just check all the boxes and be okay. But I think even if we got guys like Kwiatkowski, I think you still definitely have to dip into the draft pool here. The guy's only 26 years old, and you're paying him basically for his potential here. Then there's three other guys who we potential. One, Blake Martinez. I know we've talked about not keeping him, and I'm still on board that train because Blake Martinez might get paid in free agency here because he's only 26 years old and has kind of led the Packers when it comes to tackles. And the guy is okay in coverage. He's okay, and I say that begrudgingly and probably falsely. And again, he makes a lot of tackles. The problem is he also misses a bunch of tackles as well. For me, I mean, unless he takes like a super, super hometown discount, which he won't have to, I think he's off the team. And on top of that, we would still need to address the position in the draft. Then you have guys like Kyle Van Noy, who's 28 years old. This past season, 3 passes defended, 3 forced fumbles, 6.5 sacks, and 56 combined tackles. He's another one. Yeah, he's okay. He's been around a little bit. And kind of could put a Band-Aid there. But then again, I thought that Tramon Williams would be a Band-Aid, and he's been playing some of the best football of his career. So who knows, maybe we can get him for a bargain. And then you also have Jamie Collins, who's turning 30 years old. In 2019, 7 sacks, 3 interceptions, 80 combined tackles, 3 forced fumbles, and 7 passes defended. Jamie Collins can still play as well. So I think he's going to cost a little bit more. He's a little bit more versatile, which is nice. But again, they're Band-Aids here. So what this comes down to is, with the lack of cap that is currently projected for the Packers, we're kind of stuck here, right? Because we only have so many options. We need to potentially get a few free agents in a few different areas here, and we don't have the cap room to do that or the spending room to do that. And we also obviously have the draft in which we're late picks here. So it's going to be interesting because you take a team that went 13-3 and was 1 game away from the Super Bowl, but it was a long game away, meaning that the competition being the San Francisco 49ers, there's definitely a huge gap between us and them. Ugh, that sucked to say. But I think that definitely there's pieces where we can improve, and on the defense, it has to be at this position. I feel like Goody needs to take a look at inside linebacker, and whether that's somehow making some magic happen, and that's cutting guys like Bulaga and signing a Corey Littleton, yeah, it's going to be super expensive, and it's going to potentially suck, but we're getting a really, really good player. But then again, that's the risk of free agency. It worked out last year by getting guys like Za'Darius and Amos and Preston, but, and even Billy Turner, but, you never know in this league. You never know. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. Do you think the Packers should be going free agency here, or do you think that they should be going in the draft to address inside linebacker? Let me know what you think down in the comments below. You can always find me at TomGrossiComedy.com or at TomGrossiComedy on all social media. See you down below. Check out podcasts on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play Music, Spotify, and of course YouTube. And a big shout out and thank you to all the Patreon members at patreon.com/TomGrossiComedy. But thank you so much for watching. I'm Tom Grossi. And as always, go Pack, go.